let me double check one more time for attendance. So is Sabotage and Gary not here? Sabotage and Gary? Need to check attendance. All right, now let me come back to whiteboard. So first of all, we need to know which functions we need. So that depends on what type of analysis you want to do. So if you want to find a mean or max or sum or count or average or standard deviation or some other things like a variance, right? Okay, and you can actually write your own customized functions, customized analysis functions that you can just select that, and then the second part is you need. So first of all, you need to know that, and secondly, you need to know where is data source. Data source. So that is basically we are using tables, and we can also use views, which is just like a queries. So in other words, we can use select statement to get a view, get a result, and then use that select statement result to do analysis too. So that is really based on data source, okay, based on where you get data. All right. So if you have learned, I believe most of you have done that. What is the course title? 304? I think it's called Business Analytics. Is that right? 304 or 305, Business Analytics. In that class, you learned something called a jump. Do you? You remember that? Okay, I believe most of you already taken that class. So the jump is similar to some other programs like SPSS, like Minitab, okay, and then SAS, right? And then R, and of course R and SAS are more powerful than this than Jump and the Minitab, right? And SPSS kind of in the middle. So in that software, so basically you are going to have just one table, okay, one table with many observations, right, and many columns, right. So basically, SQL commands, the group functions we are going to write is going to be more powerful than Jump, okay. So you can think of that. You can think of in this case that we can use multiple tables. Okay, the first thing, multiple tables to do analysis. Secondly, anything that we do, we can use Jump. We have to pick up, like say, we kind of find a max or mean or whatever functions, right? So that would be the same thing here, right? And then when you use Jump, a little bit of advanced ones, you probably will have to say select cases. Do you have to select cases too? So for example, you're not going to use all data for analysis. You only select certain cases for analysis, right? So we can do that too. So for example, I only select this row, and this row, or maybe this row and this row for analysis, right? So how do we do that? In that case, we basically have to use where clause. Say where, okay, for example, where salary is bigger than 2,000, for example. Okay, so in that case, I only select those employees who have salary bigger than 2,000, or job equals to salesman or clerk. Okay, so we can use the where clause to do case to select cases. So this where is for selecting case. Selecting cases. Okay, selecting cases. And then after that, we use SQL statement. You can actually not only selecting cases for analysis, but also not only you can get data from multiple tables, but also you can do group by. So what does this group by means is that, let me write that completely down. Okay, let's just do it here. So I don't know why, what is this one? This is actually for another class, all right? So we do select, and then you have those type of functions, right? Like min or max, all right? Those functions. And then from this basically data sources. Somebody's just joining late. And then where, after where you have conditions, and remember that is for select cases, okay? And then you do group, you can do group by. So in that case, you can not only do analysis, you can also do analysis based on subgroups. So based on all the subcases, all cases, you can just put them into different group and then do analysis for each group. Okay, so this is, so basically you're gonna have some kind of columns or expressions. Columns or expressions. Okay. So after group by, so what does this do is for divide cases. Okay, so in other words, you put cases into different subgroups. All right. So basically, if you're trying to compare SQL with the software like JUMP or SPSS, and all the capabilities the software have should be done by SQL here. All right. So we are going to practice this. Plus one more class, which I will going to explain that to you just a second. After that, you can also say heaven. Heaven will be also conditions. And in that case, you can actually say you divide cases into different groups, right? But you do not want to see all groups, but you want to only say those certain groups, only certain groups. So then in that case, you use this heaven class to select groups. Okay, so in complete the SQL statement in the complete form, complete syntax. This is syntax, pretty complete. Okay, pretty complete. I'm gonna say pretty complete does not mean that's complete, very fully complete. So you will actually have one more class called order by. So in total, you have like 7 classes here. Select, from, where, group by, heaven, order by. Okay, order by just sort result. Sort result. Okay, so anyway, that is what we are going to practice today. I'm going to follow the example we did, follow the example in week 9 outline, and then I may give you a few more examples just based on based on how where we go, how we do it, and where we maybe there are certain cases I have to give you extra practice, extra exercise. Okay, so at this point, everyone log on to SQL Developer. Okay, I'm going to log on to equals again. All right. And then let's just do 1 or 2 warm-ups first. So first, I am going to do just analysis without selecting cases and without dividing cases. Okay. So let's say, suppose I want to find the total number of employees in the department. I will do select. I'm just trying to put a question here. Find total number of employees. Okay. So here, total number. So that means we are going to use count, right? So when you do count, you can count certain columns, or you can count the number of rows. So just say count star, okay? And then from EMP. Okay. So that will give you the total number of employees. Okay, so 17. Okay, next, let's say I want to do, I want to say what is the variance of employee salary, variance of employee salary. So find variance of salary. So again, this time we are not selecting cases or dividing cases, so we will do everyone. So select variance and then of cell. So this time the variance function will be applying to salary only. Okay, and then from EMP. Okay. Okay, so this is kind of like a huge number here. So it means that the company has a huge salary differences among employees. All right. And let's just say this time I want to select cases. So I want to find out how many employees who are salesmen. How many employees are salesmen? So find number of employees or number of salesmen. Salesmen. Okay. And the number of salesmen. So in this case, we are doing count, but then we are not selecting the entire company at all cases. We only filter. We are going to filter those employees who are not salesmen out. Right? So we are selecting cases in this time. So I'm going to say count, going to count from EMP again, and where. So we are going to use where this time. So where job equals to salesman. Okay. All right, only 4 people. Okay. Now, what if I change this question a little bit? I want to find out the number of employees. Number of employees in sales department. In sales department. So not everybody in sales department have job title as salesman, right? So we'll be still doing select count. Count everyone. Count all the columns from EMP. But then this time we have to be careful. So the EMP table does not have information about the department, right? So we have to have a sales information there. Sales department name is a sales, all right? So whenever you use more than 2 tables, you have to use a join or implicit join or explicit join. So let's just do explicit join, okay? So I'm going to inner join, and then DEPD, and then say on, okay, DEPD number equals to EMP.DEPD number, all right? And then after that, after the join, then you just imagine that the both tables two tables have been now combined into one, and then you can use that one table to search. So you just imagine all your jump has a one table now, and now you're going to select cases. Okay, so where D name equals to sales. So it's all capitalized, right? Because everything inside the text inside the single quote will be case sensitive. So there we go. So let's say whether we have get a 4. No, actually, it's not a 4 anymore. It's 6. So that means there are people in sales department who do not have job as a salesman. Okay. So remember the previous one have only 4. Does it make sense? Okay. Now let's just do one more for selecting cases. So this time I say I want to find out how many employees who have not received commissions. How many employees have not received commissions? So we do select, count again. Okay, and then from EMP, and then we do where again. So where job, no, not job, and the commission. So com is null, or com is equal to 0. Okay, So we did something similar to that, right? Just in that case, we found the employees. We just to find the employee information, detailed information. But here we do just summary information. We find total number of employees who have never received commissions. So we have 14 people now not received commissions. Okay. All right. So those examples show that we can either do selecting cases or no selecting cases. To select cases, then we use where clause to do it, right? And if you have to use multiple tables, just join them first. Join them first, okay? And then use the joined result to do the queries, okay? So next, let me just copy this question here, okay? The total number of employees and the total amount of salary. So let's do the question 1 here. So that basically just no selecting cases, right? So here we are selecting total number of employees and the total amount of salary. So basically you just do 2 things at one time. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. Okay, so that is simply say select, sorry. Okay. You select total number of employees, that's a count. And the total amount of salary, that's a sum, right? Sum of cell. Then from EMP, because this question does not ask you to select cases or divide cases. So just get the 2 numbers, that's all you need. Pretty simple, right? And then next question, now let's start to do dividing cases, okay? Dividing cases. So divide cases, or the equivalent just say using group by, okay? Using group by. So question 1, and we do that. Actually, we found average salary of each department. So basically, do select average salary, so AVG of cell. So first thing you want to do, you want to know is which one you're looking for, average salary, right? So average cell. And then are you selecting cases or not? So are you combining tables or not? No, you're not. So basically EMP table is the only thing you need. EMP, right? So in this case, we do not combine tables, so we do not need to use join. And then next question, do we need to select cases from EMP? I don't think so, because it does not say which employees will be selected, right? So we will just simply just skip that without selecting cases. But then when you have a question like for each, that means you need to do that average salary for each department, so you need to use group by. Group by, okay? So of course, in the EMP table, the only column that shows department is department number. So you can take PD number, okay? All right, so we get those data, get data. However, this time the average salary does not make much sense to us, even though we have all this list of salaries, but we don't know which one has which average. So in that case, if we also want to show which department has which average, then we need to have more information in the result. Okay, so we are going to add 1 more column, maybe DEPT number here. Okay, DEPT number. So that way we show that along with average salary, you also have a department number. Okay, so now you have department 30, 20, 50, so on and so forth, like that. Okay. Now I'm going to practice this exercise 1 more time. So this time we say we group by department number. What if I want to group by department names? I want to show department name and their average salary. So question will be a little bit different. Find average salary for each department. Okay, but showing the names, department names. Okay, so here, again, we are finding average salary. That does not change, so average salary. Okay, but then we need to show department name from EMP. You understand the EMP table does not have a department name. You need to get the department name from DPT table, second table. So therefore, you need to join again. Join and DEPT on DEPT number, DEPT.DEPT number equals to EMP.DEPT number. Okay. And after we join, then we have just one source, one data source, combining both tables, both EMP table and the department table. And then the question is, do we need to select cases? I don't think so, right? We just need to do group by. So group by dividing cases, group by. So what do we do group by? Group by department name or department number. So this is the place I'm going to tell you that you have to use DNAME, and I will explain to you why. Okay. So let's run that first. Okay. So you get department names along with the average salary. I think we have one department does not have any employee maybe, or does not have a salary. I don't know. So maybe because of my data in that case. So the point I want to just emphasize here is this column after the select and the column after the group by. Usually after group functions, if you have like a select and then have group functions, then you cannot have individual columns. You cannot have individual columns. However, only one exception is that the columns after group by can be listed after those group functions. So let me write that down. Okay. So no column allowed along with group functions, with one exception. And that exception is those after group by can be listed. Okay, so let me just show you that. So in this case, suppose, let me just make this a little bit bigger so that I see whole sentence here. So if in this case, if I choose to depart group by DEPT number, and the DEPT number is going to be confusing because both EMP table and the DEPT table has DEPT number. So I'm going to just make it clear with DEPT.DEPT number. Okay, but still this will not work. Okay, this will not work. The reason for that is this column after the group by is DEPT number, but the column you listed after along with the group functions is DNAME. So that will be violating this requirement. Okay. So if you try that, you get an error message saying that, what is the error message? Study. So let me just try to run this statement again. Okay, so you get a case, so not a group by expression. So what is that? Not a group by expression, case cause. So it may not make much sense by looking at this error message. However, it's just, if you think of this case, okay, so your group, you're trying to divide the cases, and then for each case, for each group, you have average, right? And then the characteristic of the group will be those like average functions or minimal or maximal, those statistic functions, right? But this name, so since we divide by, we group by department number, so then only characteristic that signify each group will be department number, not department name. Okay, vice versa. So if you change this to department number, that will be fine. But if you change this, so for example, if I say to department name here, but then you change this to department number, that will be also incorrect. Okay, DEPT number, DEPT number, that will be also incorrect because after group by, you group each, you label each group as using their names, but now you trying to list that group department, each group's department number. That that's inconsistent. Okay, so make sure you understand that only thing that can go along with group functions are those of the group bys. Okay, so we can do DNAME here. All right. So now let's try to do a few more of this, and then we move on to the next type of example. Okay, so this time, let's say I want to find maximum salary for each job title. Maximum salary. So select max. Okay. Salary. All right. From EMP. So assuming that at this point we do not need a group, so we are going to put all these observations, all employees into different groups and group by their job title. But there's no need to select cases. So we're just going to skip where clause and then do group by directly, group by, okay? And then again, after group function, along with group functions, you can list any other. You cannot list any other columns except job title. You can list job title here. Okay. If you have to, if you want to list job titles, you can. But you can. So you can skip that without job title. But if you do want to select some kind of columns, put columns, then the column must be job title only. Okay. So there we go. We have those. Okay. And let's do one more. So this time, let me want to write the question here. Find max salary for each job. Okay. Next. This time, let's say I want to extend that a little bit. I want to find the maximum salary for each job. Okay. However, I want to select cases. What do we select? We want to make sure that we only want to select those employees who were hired after 1981, for example. Okay, I only want to say we only want to find the maximum salary. So let me just try to write this question down. Okay, find max salary among employees hired after 1981. Okay, and also for each job. For each job. So you understand that in this case, we are selecting cases. Why? Because we only look at the employees who hired after 1981. And then also for each job. So you need a group by also. Okay. So to select max of cell from EMP. Okay. And where hire date is after, so that's greater than 1981, so I'm going to just say December 31st, 1981. Okay, so that is used to select cases, and then we also do group by job again, right? So the only difference now is we also need to select cases, not only divide cases. So we have here is select cases, and now this one is divide cases. So it's pretty complete, right? So I put a two dash on to indicate that after that is going to be comments, not SQL statement. Okay. And then, so okay, so if we want to show also not only just that maximum salary, but also the group name, so we can put a job title along with it. Job title. Because after group by, you have a job, right? So the only thing you can put inside that will be job. Okay, so now you have a clerk and the analyst. Okay. Any questions so far? All right, so now let me try, let's move on to other examples. Example 3. Okay. All right. So here, this time we found those departments, whose minimum salary is less than 500. So now let's see, minimum salary is less than 500. So this question is a little bit different now. Okay, find the minimum salary. So we are going to use statistics, use the minimum salary, right? Minimum salary. And so let's just try to say select min cell. All right. Okay. And then, but we also want to do that for department. So for those departments, so let's just try to simplify. So I want to show department number only. Department number, okay? And then from EMP. So that's data source. Data source is usually easy to decide. And the first two are actually very easy to decide. Okay, so which statistic you want to use, okay, and then which table you're going to use. So we are not. So when we decide in data source in here, EMP table has all we need, right? So minimum salary. It does not reference to any other table, any other information like a location or department name. So therefore, we do not need department table. Just EMP table will be fine. But now we need to decide whether we are going to select cases or not. So do we is there any like a thing that indicate that we are selecting cases? Do we use any employees, only sorting employees, not all employees? There's no indication. So therefore, we are going to do group by directly the PD number, right? Because there's no need for selecting cases. Okay. But then remember here, so we only want to show those departments who have salary less than 500, minimum salary less than 500. So department which has minimum salary less than 500. So in other words, we are going to select groups. So now you have to use heaven, okay? And then mean of cell is less than 500. So the departments whose minimum salary is less than 500, okay? So in this case, we have class to select groups, select divisions, okay? Select divisions. So here you divide cases again, okay? And then after you divide the cases, then you have many divisions, right? And in many groups. So this class will allow you to select the certain groups, okay? All right, let's run that. And we do not have anybody. The minimum salary may be too low. Let's just change that to maybe like to 900, okay? So hopefully we can get somebody. Okay, we get department 20 with the minimum salary is 800, okay? So now let's try to come back to the question here. The question is ask you, find those departments whose minimum salary is less than 500. So it really does not ask you to show what is the minimum salary. You only want to show that only department. So which information is department? So we can use department number only. We do not really need to show minimum salary along with it. So in this case, we are using group functions, okay? However, the group functions is not, the result of statistics is not going to be shown as a result. Instead, we are using the statistics for selecting the groups, okay? So we still use group functions. We still need to put different, all employees into different groups, okay? And then with each group, we do statistics, all right? However, we use that statistics to do what? To filter out some groups, filter selecting some groups, okay? Now let's do it again, okay? This time, to do something similar. I want to find out the number, find the department, yeah. Okay, that departments that have less than 3 employees. Less than 3 employees. Okay. So look at the question here. We are looking for department less than 3 employees. So what we do here is we are going to use count, put all the employees in different departments, and then we count the number of employees, right? So we do select DPD number again, okay? DPD number, and then from EMP, And then this time we do group by the PD number again. Okay. And then we see heaven count star is less than 3, right? Less than 3 employees. So when I do sharing my screen, my clock, everything is not hidden. Where can I see my clock? See time. I bring my watch today. Let's see. I was trying to close something here. Maybe you can see clock. Okay. So we still have time, right? Still have like 40 minutes. Okay, good. Okay, now I'm going to throw you a question. You do it. I'll give you 2 minutes to finish, and your job is to find a job. Okay, find a job that has total salary more than 10,000. Let's do that quickly. Got it? Okay, so has everybody done? So select job, right? And then remember, we are talking about total salary, so you have to use the statistics. So you have to use a group by, right? So you're going to select from EMP, and then group by job. Okay, and then we are selecting sum of the salary. Selecting those groups, sum of salary is more than 10,000. Did everybody get it? So let's run it. So hopefully we have somebody, nobody. Oh, no job. Maybe there's too much. Let's just try to change that to 3,000. Let me see. Yeah, 3,000 will be fine. So let's change it to 3,000 then. Okay. All right. So now let's move on to other questions, other examples. Here we go. Actually, this one we just did. Okay, this is something similar. Okay, so let's just copy that and let's do it. Example 4. Okay. Find the job categories whose average salary is more than 2,000. So basically doing the same thing, right? Select job from EMP, okay. And then group by job. So only thing, when you use group functions, only thing after select by will be the ones after group by. Only thing you can select, only columns you can select, okay? Usually after select, you can have group functions, minimize, maximize, or average, or variance, or whatever. But if you want to put individual columns, no. Only ones are exception is the ones after group by, okay? Now having average of cell is more than 2,000. All right, so those are people who are making more than that. Okay. Okay, next, let's move on to this one. So example 5. Find the most recent employment among those hired before 1980 for each department. So that's a good question. Okay. So let's look at it here. Most recent employment. What is that? Employment hire date, maybe, right? Most recent hire date. So that means a max hire date. So the question is trying to find a max hire date. Okay. And then which data source do we use? Are we using any other tables? Well, it says for each department. So we could interpret that as for each department name or for each department number. So if we're going to do department name, then we'll have to use join. Okay, let's just do join next time. emp inner join dept on dept.dept number equals to emp.dept number. Okay, so we join, all right, because we are using department name. And then now do we need to select cases? Yes, we only find those employees who have, we only look at the most recent hire date for those employees hired before 1980. So that means we have to use a where clause. Where hire date is before, that means less than 1980. So I would do 01. That's January. Let's just do chart to date again. Okay, so to date using different format. So let's say January before 1980. So what we do is that we just 1980. Okay, 1980. Okay, that's text, and then format is YYYY. Okay. So in other words, we are converting this text into year number only. Okay. And then we also need a group by the name, right? Or we can group by department number, because this time we did not list we did not show, we do not have any columns showing along with group functions. So if we put like dname here, then you have to use dname of the group by. Okay. If you use department number here, then you have to use the department. So let's just dname here. Okay. So that's again. And let's look at again the question to see whether it's answering the question. So find the most recent employment, most recent, that means maximum hire date. Okay. And then for each department, so we're going to do group by department name. And then department name is coming from department table, not from EMP table. So therefore, we need to join them. Okay. And also among those hired before 1980, so hired, that means we are selecting cases. There we go. So so this time we have selecting and dividing cases. Nobody? Okay, so maybe nobody's before 1980. Let's try and make 83. Okay, and so whether anybody, yeah, we do have some employees. Yeah. So most recent hire date for accounting is 82, January 21st, 1982. 81 for research and sales. Okay, there we go. Okay, let me do one more along this line. Okay, so let's say this time we find the total salary among employees, total salary among employees hired be after 1980. Okay, for each job. For each job. So you understand, we are talking about total salary. Okay. So you're going to say select sum of salaries. Okay. And then from EMP, we do not need to join, right? And then do we need to select cases? Yes, we do. We need to select, make sure the employee is hired after 1980. So that means where hire date is after greater than, let's do to date again. So 1980, change that to year. Okay. And then we do group by job. Okay. Since you do group by job, you can also list job title in along with the max sum salary here. Okay, so that is consistent. So that should be okay. All right, so those are the maximum. That's total salary for each job after those for those employees among hired after 1980. So that means all the employees who hired before 1980 will be excluded when you calculate this max or that is this sum. Okay. All right, now let's do question 6. Let me know if you have questions, okay? Otherwise, I will move on, assuming that you don't have questions. Find the average salary of those employees whose name starts with J in each department. Okay, kind of like that, kind of similar. Okay, so you also need to select cases, but this time you select cases based on the employee's name. Employee name starts with letter J. Okay, so you do select. What is group function we are using? Average salary, right? So A, B, G of cell. Okay. From EMP. And then do we need to select cases? Yes, we do. Select ename, like, start with letter J. So that means J, percentage sign. Okay. And then we do group by department number or department name. We can do DPD number here. Get that? So those average salaries, okay. If you want also show department number along with it, just put department number along with group functions. So now we can see the department number and also the average salary along with it. All right. Got it? Okay, let's do last question here. Example 7. Okay. Find those job categories whose maximum salary among the people hired after 1980 is more than 2,500. Okay. So if you're given questions like this, just make sure let's do analysis here. Okay, let's say, what are we looking for? We're looking for job title only. So the select job. Okay. And then are we using any group statistics? Yes, we do maximum salary. Right? So based on that, you can just write a statement that say you have the group by job and then use the max salary. Okay. So we can just finish that first. So group by job. And then heaven. So we are going to use a maximum salary for selection, right? So max cell. Maximum salary is more than 2,500, greater than 2,500. Okay. And now, before that, we need to decide which data source we use. So are we going to use several tables or just one table? I think for this one, just one table is not enough because the EMP table has job titles, has salaries, so that's all we need. And now, do we select cases? Yes, we do. We have to select those people hired after 1980. So haven't, okay, haven't hired, no, not haven't, say well, sorry, selecting cases well. So that's hire date, okay, is less than, before, after, okay, after 1980. So I'm going to just make that as like 31st December and 1980. Okay. And then let's come back to the question again to say whether we have covered everything, all the conditions and all the information we're looking for. So we find those job categories. Okay, we have select job, and we use statistic function with maximum salary. So we use maximum salary. So the maximum salary is not used for displaying. We're not trying to summarize. We're not trying to get a maximum salary. Instead, we use a maximum salary as a condition to select job. So that's why we need to put a max after heaven. Okay. And then for people hired after 1980, so that you know that is for individual cases, individual employees. So therefore, we do where clause. I think that's it. That's everything we. Okay. Okay. Let's run. Oh, hold on. Run it. All right. And we have successfully finished all these examples, but now let me do a few more examples. And these examples maybe maybe or similar, maybe identical to the questions you are going to do in homework, but I don't know, okay? I'm just guessing, all right? So let me give you the first question here is find number of employees, number of employees, okay? Hired each year. Okay. So what are looking for? We are looking for number of employees. So that's going to be what? Count. Okay. Count number of employees. Okay. And then which data source do we need? Employees, right? So we just need, say, from employees. Okay. From EMP. Okay. Are we selecting cases? No, we're not selecting cases. Okay. But we do need a group by. So what do we group? How do we group by? So this time we group by each year. Do we have a column called year? We don't. We cannot group by hire date. So if you're trying to do hire date, that would be wrong because that basically just say you group each group employees based on their hire days. So people hired on the same day will be put into the group. But here we are looking for the hire year. Okay, so we need to change this to hire year. So what do we do? Is we say to char. Okay, to char, and then you get a year number. Okay, so there we go. So there's this. So that will give you the year number, and then you group the employees based on year number. Okay, then there we go. Oh. Okay, so now let me extend this question a little bit. Let's say I want to find the hire year, the year that employees, the company hired more than 3 employees. More than 3 employees. Okay, so let's try and put a question here first. So find the year that company hired more than 3 employees. Okay.
Professor?
Yeah.
For the last one with the number of employees hired each year,
yeah.
My numbers in the rows are like a little bit different. Is that because your data is different than ours?
Yeah, you may have a different data, yeah. That's fine.
Okay.
You may have a different data, they may even have So I added some employees, which you may not have. Okay. All right, so we need to find the year the company hired more than 3 employees. So let's say what we're looking for. We need to find a year number, right? So select to cha and the hire date. And then based on hire date, we get a year number only. Okay. And then we need to look for, say, are we going to use group functions or not? Yes, we do. So we need to find total number of employees. So that's a count. So we can just put that from data source first, and then we do group by. So what do we group by? Of course, we never use group functions. The only thing that can be after group by, after select, will be after group by. So basically, say we have select, when I select to child, this kind of individual column values, right? So then we have to use that along with the same thing as group by. So group by year number, okay? Okay. And then having, so having count, so that is the group function we are going to use. The count is greater than 3, okay? So one more thing we need to fix, we need to decide whether we are selecting cases or not. So we divide the cases, and also we select groups. But are we selecting cases? Are we going to, for example, select individual employees with certain characteristics or not? Doesn't, right? We don't, because basically say all employees, right? Company. So find the year the company hired more than 3 employees. So it means any employees will be fine. So we do not need to use a where clause in this case. Okay, so no where. Okay. All right. So we have one year that hired more than 3 employees. Okay. Now let me throw similar questions. I want you to do it. Find total salary for employees hired in each month. Find the total salary, of course, is a group function, and hired each month in the group by month, right? So it's kind of similar to what we have done. Now you finish it. Does anybody finish it? So we are going to find the total salary, so sum of the salaries. And then data source should be EMP table. So that's most of the times pretty easy to decide, say whether you are using multiple tables or not. Okay, so salary and the month, hire date, we all, is all coming from the employee table. There's no need for other tables. And then do we need a group by? Of course, this time we say for each month, right? So we have to group by the month. So to cha and use hire date to get a month. So we can use a month name. Okay. There we go. Okay. So if you want to show the month name along with the total salary, you just add to to char, hire date, and y here. Okay, so you can say this as a month. So just change the name, change the column name. Oh, something wrong. Let me see, did I do something wrong? Oh, month. See it here? This is YY, it is a year number, this is a month. So you see that you have to be consistent, right? So you have a month's name and also total salaries. Okay.
Could you also use MM for month?
You can also do MM, yeah. You can just do MM here. So that will be just a month number. But if you do that, then you have to change this to month too. The label has to be changed too. So you group all the employees based on their month name. But the label of the group is the month number, right? A month name. So you have to make sure that they are consistent. So this is the month number. That will be fine too. Okay. And then based on this, if I go further, so they say if I want to find the month that employees, the company hired, find the month, the total salary of the employees hired in that month is more than, say, what, 5,000? Then you're going to, let me just put a question here. So find the month, the company, find the month in which hired employees hired make more than 2,000 total salary, something like that. Okay, so again, you'll find a month, then total salary, 2,000 total salary. So based on that information, you know that you're going to use a group by, you're using total salary, and you're using the month, right? So we select to char, and then hire date, and then say month. We can also use 3 letters for month, from like a abbreviated month name. And then from EMP, all right, we do not need to use where class because we are not selecting any particular cases, but we do group by. So group by to char, hire date. And then we're also going to be using the exactly same abbreviation here too. And then we say heaven's total salary, so sum of sale is more than 2,000. Okay. All right. And then let's just do one more question, maybe 2 more questions before 3:15. 3:15 is end of class, so we have like 8 minutes. So I'm going to just use 3 minutes, okay? So this time I want you to find something similar we already did. Find department. Find the department that has less than 3 employees. Find the department less than 3 employees. Okay. But I think we did something like that before. So we are trying to select, say, let's just try to find the department name. Okay, D name. Okay. And then since we are selecting the department name, then we have to use join, right? So let's say DPT, inner join, EMP, dpt.dpt number equals to emp.dpt number. Okay. So that is data source. Okay. So the join will create a data source combining the two tables. Okay. And then this time we want to find a department that has less than 3 employees. So we have to group by, right? So group by dname. Okay. And heaven count. And then the number of employees, well, the number of employees, total number of employees is less than 3. Okay. So let's see what do we get, okay? And we get only the production department, okay? Now let me show you, the department table. Select dname from dpt, okay? So in here we have 5 departments: sales, production, research, accounting, and operation. Okay. And then let me show you which department has how many employees, number of employees for each department. Okay. Let's see whether this information is correct. Okay. So let's just say select count. You know what? Yeah, we can just do it again. Count. Okay, and then dname from dpt, join, join emp, and then join emp, and then on dpt number equals to emp.dpt number. Okay, and then say we group by dname. Okay, so let's try to say whether this query is correct. So here it shows me that production department has 1 employee, and then sales 6, research 5, and accounting 3. Okay, and then when we do this query, they show me the production one. Production has less than 3. That's correct. Okay. However, what about the operations department? What about the operations department? Do you see how many employees in the operations department? That's 0. So actually, this query is not fully correct. Does everybody understand that? So if we run this department, run this one. Okay. So let me just do that join again. Let's say I want to say select dname and then say dpt and left join emp, and then we'll say on dpt number equals to emp.dpt number. Okay, so let's also put an employee name here, emp number, and also ename. Okay, now I will say that we will select join in this case will be selecting all departments. But then for employees, if they have matching employees, then we list those. But not, then we list none. Okay, if missing values. So let's try and say that. So you say the accounting has a bunch of employees, research has a bunch of employees, operation has no employees, right? You see that? Does it make sense? So the point here is this one is not exactly right. It's not exactly right. Okay, so even though that one partially correct, so basically production ones are correct. However, others are not. There's one more department which is not correct. Okay, so this is one type of problems. Then we are going to handle next class. And then there's another type of problems we need to handle is, let's say if I need to say select, let me do that. Okay, I want to say the department name and also the count. Let's just do this one. Let's do this one. Run this query. Okay, so this query We get accounting of 3 employees, and then this, okay. Can we find which department has the most employees? Can we find, so question is, find the department that has most employees. So according to this, then we say that the sales department is the one we are looking for. But the question is, how can you use SQL statement to find the sales department? Not listing all departments. Okay, we have to assuming that the department this database may have many departments, and you just want to select the department that has the most employees, just one department. Okay, does it make sense? So I will leave that as 2 open questions. All right, and we are going to handle that in next class. And we still have like 2 minutes. Let's see whether you have any questions. Does anybody have questions on this?
I have a question.
Yeah.
What did you get when you ran that code that was like the department that has less than 3 employees?
Yeah, this one we get only production. That's production department only. In my database, according to my sample data.
Okay,
So,
I was just wondering because mine doesn't give me anything. I think we don't have the production.
That's probably right. Yeah. So you can change this number. So for example, change to 5, then you should be able to get some numbers. Production and accounting. Okay, that's 5 in place. All right, I will see you next Monday, everyone. And your homework should be just like what we did today. Okay. 10:21.